All right. We are live, I believe. uh, my name is Louie. For anyone rewatching this, I don't think there's anyone in here right now watching live, but for anyone rewatching this, my name is Louie Carr, and I manage Jackie Benson. I'm also the founder of Own Path Media, just a fancy title for the company that only employs me. Um, I figured I would do this so that people could get an insight into some of the success that Jackie and I have had over the last few years. Today is actually, coincidentally, our 3-year anniversary working together. So in that time, we've done quite a bit of streams, especially this year. Um, but I wanted to talk about all the things that we've tested, all of the different platforms we've tried. I mean, if there's a piece of gear or a piece of software that exists for live streaming, there's a chance in the last 3 years we've either tested it, bought it, sold it, or read about it. Um, and we've also spoken with a lot of the people that make the software or the people that host the streams. Like we've been lucky enough to have ins with the Facebook team, the Facebook music team, um, as well as some of the folks over at TikTok, which has been a great platform for us. Um, we to give a little background, Jackie and I we're independent. Currently, Jackie's the only artist I manage, but I have managed several others before in the past. My background is in digital marketing, and so a lot of the success that we found with live streaming and with uh, social media has been really taking in whatever systems or features they're pushing surrounding live streaming. I mean, that's how we got started with it initially. It was pretty obvious that Facebook was really pushing it a few years ago, um, and really pushing just video content in general. So we decided to jump on that train, and it's paid off in dividends. Oh, it looks like we've got some people. Hey, everybody. Uh, where are we all watching from? I'm currently in Austin, Texas. I would imagine most of you watching are probably down here as well. Let's see. Usually, I'm the one monitoring these comments and these streams, so it's exciting to be on the other side of the camera for once. Currently, Jackie's setup is 5 cameras, all going to different platforms uh, at the same time, usually for an hour, sometimes for a little bit longer if the stream's going well. The 5 platforms are Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We've tried Twitch in the past, but it's a good platform. Don't get me wrong. It's another thing that has to be developed. This year, in the last 6 months, we've pushed 4 of Jackie's profiles over 10,000 followers or subscribers. Three of them from zero, and that's almost exclusively through live streaming, and then spreading the streams out after the fact. Let's see. Yeah. So while I'm talking, if anybody has any questions or direct questions, please just drop them in the comments, and I'll get to them as I can. Um, yeah. So we've got. Let's see. Sorry. Which in the past, but there we go. Oh, there we go. Let's see. There we go. Now I can see the comments. Sorry about that, everyone. Nathan, Brian, James. That's awesome. Johnny. Awesome. Hey, everybody. This is great. For a second there, the comments weren't showing up. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm talking to myself today. But anyway, Tina, we are using all phones. We've used cameras before in the past. But it's so much equipment. So for us, live streaming, it was about the platforms themselves and working within the confines of the algorithms on each platform. Um, Facebook has expanded a lot in live creator what you can and can't do. Um, as far as what you can do natively in their software. I mean, like Facebook, if they don't own OBS, they're its like biggest contributor, but it's still at least. I mean, we haven't used it in 6 months, but um, we haven't used it in 6 months. But live the OBS, it cut our engagement down severely, and it didn't promote growth for us. And once we switched back to native, uh, and once we switched to selfie mode, so you can't see it, but um, I'm actually in the rehearsal space. I mean, you can probably tell by behind me, but right behind my laptop, I've got an array of mic stand or camera stands, um, with cell phone mounts on them, and that's how we go live. We set up each one individually, and we sound check, and we do a lighting test, and then we go live. We tried StreamYard, but uh, it's just it doesn't play well with music. It's just something seems to be lost in their software, and that might have changed in the last couple months. Hopefully, it has, but um, and it's nice that it's browser based, but again, you know, the best engagement we've gotten is over native. So we've used OBS and we've used Restream. Um, OBS was, eh, I mean, it used to be good. So we used the OBS to like do pre-recorded stuff in the beginning of the pandemic, and we used it for a couple months. Um, but it didn't it didn't offer a reliable stream. Like we haven't had a crash on a stream, and knock on wood, in forever. And that's because we go native to each platform. And to Nathan, uh, not all of the phones have their own cell phone plan. They're just all running off Wi-Fi. Um, all of the audio is going through each phone. From is going through each phone's mic. So it's just room. They're picking up room volume pretty much. Um, it's all through a PA speaker that we've got on the floor facing the cameras and Jackie. So it's kind of like a monitor as well. And then we've got a mixing board over there, and then that's about it. We've got a guitar amp. But with pre-recorded stuff, at least on Facebook and YouTube, we found that premieres are the way to go as far as getting the most organic reach for your content. So because Facebook treats the pre-recorded stuff or the premieres like a live stream. So let's say we can't go live, like tonight. We can't go live at our usual time of 9 p.m. We've got a great pre-recorded set of 45 minutes that we did at the Bubble that we had in reserve for situations like this. And then we set a premiere, and then people can set reminders for it. And then when it goes live, even though Jackie can't necessarily perform live, we're in the comments, interacting with people, dropping links, pitting comments, just getting that organic engagement that really, really has brought Jackie to where she is right now. At the end of the day, what it's all about for us is the evergreen nature. Yeah, you can do pre-recorded on native now. What brought us to really wanting to, or what gets us the biggest bang for a buck is not just the live audience, because that's great. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing it over 300, 400. Last night it was over 500 for a little bit there. But what gives us, or I'm talking about Facebook. Actually, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll walk through the benefits of each platform and the success that we've had. And let's start with Facebook. I mean, that's the biggest one. That's Jackie's biggest mover right now. Well, that was the catalyst. TikTok and Reddit are pretty fast movers as well. Um, we've got with Facebook, I think Jackie's like at 125,000 followers right now, and we've added probably 30 or 40,000 in the pandemic, maybe more, maybe 50,000. Um, and most of that is organic. Like we don't spend that much on ads. And it's been a while since we've really spent any decent money on ads. Not to say that ads aren't effective, but we've found that the biggest growth factor for us is people sharing to their friends. And I know that makes sense, but or that's obvious, but we encourage people, and so we spent our money isn't on ads, but it's on merchandise and giving away merchandise and shipping costs to people. And every stream we encourage people share this stream and then like this comment, and then uh, we'll pick someone every night at random to get free signed merch. And every day, after the stream, Jackie goes on and picks someone that shared the stream, and they get merch. And it's created this community of sharing. And we've also encouraged people to understand that, like, just because you can't buy merch, just because you don't have the funds to tip, doesn't mean we don't want you here. We prefer people watching, people enjoying. And so we fostered that community on Facebook where people understand that we're going live for our sanity, for their sanity, and just trying to create a movement. And it's really built a really strong, really loyal community, and it's helped keep us sane. At the end of the day, we want people to show up live when they can, and show up when we have new announcements, and that's what's happened. We've found that we haven't done a paywall stream because we just want people to feel like we want people to feel the joy, and we want people to feel the love, and we want people to understand that, like, we're here for you guys. Like, that's the biggest thing. You guys, like, the people that are tuning in to Jackie's streams every night, that's so unbelievably, like, important and meaningful to Jackie and me. And so we appreciate that. And so, we back up everything with content. So we're not just going live, but we're super serving everyone that keeps showing up. How are we monetizing the stream? So for Facebook, they've introduced a lot of features, some good, some bad, when it comes to monetization. So right now, they've kind of taken a lot of pages out of the YouTube book. So there's pre-roll, there's mid-roll ads now, and that generates some income. There's stars, which I'm not a huge fan of, and I'm mostly not a huge fan of stars because I don't think the education around it from Facebook's end is very good. Like, Facebook hasn't really done a great job of educating people about the value of each individual star, because I think each individual star is only a penny. So people feel like they're sending a lot, but they're only sending 500, whereas they used to tip, $10, $15, $20. But every little bit helps. And I think stars might be easier for some people that don't have PayPal and Venmo. So it does even out. And with stars, people can donate streams on streams and videos that aren't live. So that helps. So it's really an evening. And where in the beginning of the pandemic, it was mostly tips and merch, it's morphed into ad revenue and stars and still merch sales. Actually, merch has been great because of Facebook, I think, because of their shop integrations and their link integrations on the live streams where people can find where your merch is fairly easily. One of the other success stories we've had is creating new merch, creating new content. I mean, Jackie's released 5. Almost gave you a secret. We're going to release 5 albums this year. The 5th one will be coming out very soon. I can't, I'm not allowed to be the one to announce that one fully, but constantly giving fans content and fresh, really good content. That's been a huge part of the success outside of live streams. one of the other big things with Facebook is you have to remember that um, people are going to see uh, your video again. And with Jackie, she has international fans that can't tune in at 9 p.m. for us because it's, middle of the night for them. But they wake up, they make their coffee, and they listen to the live stream. So we try to start every live stream with music, with a bang, because we want to hook people. If you have a wait screen at the beginning of your stream, or if you're sitting there awkwardly, or if you're tuning or doing anything other than like creating and connecting, you're going to lose people in the initial wave, and you're going to lose people on rewatches. Y'all, it's crazy the evergreen nature of Facebook. Like, I know I'm still talking about Facebook, and I'll get to the other platforms. But with Facebook, we're seeing crazy numbers on videos, on just like live streams. We've got one that from last week, a live stream where I think it just crossed 100,000 views, and that's like the fourth or fifth video that's done that in the last couple of weeks. I mean, from a reach standpoint, we're in the millions now on her page because of all the things that we're doing on Facebook, and it's all organic. That's the thing. We try to foster a sense of community around good music, and really support the fans. Oh, hey everybody. Yeah, so we've got Jackie on, let's see, one studio album, one live album, 2 remix albums. The next album is going to be it's going to be so good, and it's going to be a blast. But being able to serve our community and the fans, that's been a huge part of the growth on Facebook. Let's see. I know there was a couple more questions about Patreon. So we have a Patreon. That was the other thing that Facebook's introduced. They've introduced supporters, which is just Patreon, and that's been really big. Or I should say that's been another great piece where people can sign up exactly like Patreon. And the benefit there is we don't have to port anyone over to a new platform. You don't have to educate someone. You don't have to get them to sign up, get to put their have them put their financial situation or financial information into another system. I think that makes people more comfortable. Like the people that are used to Facebook and used to spending money on Facebook, becoming a supporter for them, it's really easy. With ultimately let's see. So it's a good question. That's great. These are all great questions. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. The best time to go live. So one of the reasons, the reason Jackie goes live at 9 o'clock is that our neighbors don't get mad. But it's also, I don't know. I kind of feel like it sort of avoids some of the heavy traffic. We try to go live a little bit later than what I like to call rush hour traffic, which is usually like 7 to 8. There's a lot of people that go live in those times, and it just, I don't know, it creates a little bit more competition. Whereas at 9 o'clock or even a little bit later, we're kind of like a late night show where there isn't a ton of other, there aren't a ton of high quality streams going on that late. So we try to collect those people too. Yes, Karen, it's called supporters. I don't know if everyone is keyed in on that feature. But yeah, supporters is great. We don't turn it on for and we don't turn stars or ads on for everything. It's kind of like a case by case basis. But let's see. We've got what other questions? Thoughts on going live from music versus personal? That's a great question. So here's the thing: you should go live from your music because it's tied to everything else. We also like to use aggregators. There's this great link aggregator called SongWhip. So, and Google, you know what? I can drop it. Actually, I can drop it in the comments for you guys. But it's this really great service called SongWhip that you just paste in. Like I paste in Jackie's, like a song of Jackie's, and it'll find where that song exists on every streaming platform, and then put it in a really cool stylized menu, and that's all you have to do. It's free. The guy who makes it is just one guy, and it was a passion project for him, and it's just such an amazing like tool for independent artists, because Jackie she's got fans all over it that use all sorts of platforms, and so using a link like this, here, I'll put it in the comments. Using a link like this really gives people the freedom to find where they prefer to stream, and that's always really important. Finding people where they are. Oh, Jackie's in the comments. Look at that. Yeah, she's got to man the stream now. Let's see. Does she take requests, and how? So we do requests, but it's all Jackie's music. We never do covers, and if Jackie does do covers, it's usually like a melody within one of her songs that she's just riffing on her guitar, because we don't want to get hit with any sort of mutes or takedowns. It's just not worth it. And Jackie has such a large and extensive catalog, but you got to keep in mind, like, it's okay to repeat songs. People are learning who you are. They're learning your catalog. And if they like a song, they want to hear it more than once. Like, I still love hearing every single song live. I sing along. It's great. And it's like the radio effect. You know, how did a lot of songs and music get popular back in the day? It was repetition on the radio. People learning the lyrics. People really like emotionally connecting. So when Jackie plays her music over and over again, you know, like I said, she's released 4 albums this year, and so she has a big catalog. But when she plays the ones that people like over and over again, they become invested, and that's always huge. With requests, we'll harvest after the fact. So we'll say to people in a stream, like, hey, we're going to do a request stream on Friday, so if you want to hear something in particular, let me know. Or we'll use the group that we created, the JV Squad. And I'll put a poll question in there that's like, hey, guys, we're going to do this live stream on Friday. Here are some choices for the set list. You feel free to add your own, and we'll knock out the songs you love. And people love it. The fans love it. They're super into it. And they're super happy when their song comes up, or when their request comes up. So that's how we do engagement on Facebook. I mean, there's so many layers to Facebook. Maybe I should have just done this about each individual platform. Maybe I'll deep dive on a different platform next week, because, you know, I don't want you guys to have to listen to me ramble for like an hour or 2 hours. But with Facebook, one of the biggest components is, at least from an organic, yeah, Dwayne, there you go, Song Whip. One of the biggest components for organic growth that we found on Facebook is groups. So not just the group that we've created of super fans for Jackie, because they're amazing. I mean, really, those people are so genuinely kind and supportive, and just like the JV Squad. You can't say enough. How do you put a value on a group of people that are willing to just show up and show love on such a regular basis? But outside of that, when we're talking about organic growth, yeah, okay, I'll put the JV Squad in the comments, or maybe if Jackie's still watching, she can drop it in there. When it comes to organic growth on Facebook, one of the biggest tools we've used, and we continue to use, but we use it sparingly, is the groups. So I'm a part of a ton of groups, music groups. Jackie is too. And we share the streams into those groups. But we pick very niche groups, like Epiphone guitar players, Epiphone guitar fans, Epiphone, Les Paul fans, guitar fans, top guitar players community, like all of these groups that are very niche, but they apply to Jackie specifically. And then sometimes there's 15, 20, 30,000 people. Shit, there's a group we're in that has 300,000 people, but they love Jackie, because we don't just share to the groups. That's one of the big mistakes I see, is Like, you have to be a part of these communities. Like, you can't just be a spam bot, a pop-up in these communities, in these groups, because they're niche. These people are passionate. They're part of these groups. They post because they're passionate about these like niche loves. So you can't disrespect that. And we don't. Like, I'll watch the groups. I'll watch the groups. I'll see what's posted, how it's posted, the language people are using, and then I'll post in those groups when it's appropriate. Like, if Jackie's doing a very bluesy stream and I know that, then I'll post to the blues groups. But if she's not doing a lot of bluesy stuff, if it's more electronic, I'm not going to put it in those groups because it'll just serve to turn those people off and alienate them. So I've got this cabinet of groups that I tailor each stream to. And when you do that, you can't lose because it's genuine and people connect to it. So, like, if you've got like a group about soul music and it's people and it's a stream that's got like Jackie's music, more blues, more soul, more R&B, then that's where that video goes, and that's where it lives. And that's also how you get those evergreen views, because people find it, it gets love, it gets commented on in those groups, and then it gets new legs, and that's one of the biggest ways to organically grow your audience. That's a great idea. Karen says her artists who stream make money on requests because people donate to hear a song sooner or on the queue. That's a great idea. That's a phenomenal idea. One of our biggest, one of the things, I'm about to quote Field of Dreams, but it's true. One of the biggest, like, I don't know, rules or tenets of art streaming is if you build it, they will come. So if we give it away, people will show up and they will appreciate what we're giving them and all of the hours that Jackie practices and all the time that I put in to find these fans that we put in. I mean, I know, and I've seen it borne out in a million different comments and messages that we've received over the last year. People appreciate all of the work we put in and how genuinely appreciative we are. And I think if you come from a place like that, people appreciate it because you're giving something away that's so special to you, because you know that it'll make their day better. You know that if they're having a bad day, at least for an hour, you give them something to focus on, So, hey, Adrian's in. Adrian's a part of the squad. Anyway, so with Facebook, we've got the groups, we've got the settings, and then something that I haven't seen talked about a lot, but it's important too, is invite liking. When you have a stream that's doing particularly well, take a look at the reactions. A lot of those people that push the love, that push the laugh if they saw something funny, all those people, I would say a third probably aren't followers of the page. So a free or inexpensive, because you still have to put time in, way of getting a larger following is inviting those people to like the page, doing a little invite mining, and that's free. If you do it too much, you'll get banned for like 12 hours. They'll basically tell you to cool down. But yes, sorry. So all of it's over Wi-Fi. All of it's all on the same network. We make sure no other device is connected at the time. And sometimes I'll reset the router. But from what I've been told, and I'm not an expert on this, from what I've been told from someone who is service providers, internet service providers, especially home internet service providers, treat streaming data differently than uploads and downloads. So it doesn't put quite as much of a strain as you would think, especially when it's going. That's another reason that we go native to a lot of these platforms from the phones, because it just seems to us like it doesn't put as much of a strain on um, bandwidth. When we have a streaming service or streaming software, it always seems to put a little more strain on our bandwidth. Like maybe it's recognized in a different way. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but you know, at this point we've done several hundred live streams, and this seems to be the best way. So that being said, that's Facebook. Um, One of the best things that I found is we pay attention to what these streaming services tell us. So if they're saying to us like, "Hey, go live," we'll go live. That's what started this. Like Facebook's blog. And if you like, I I follow several social media sites, social media news sites, and they're like tech blogs that they announce. They those blogs keep an eye on press releases from the large platforms, and then they'll write about them. They'll write what they mean, you know, and that's the way I've been able to keep up on new features and ways that we can keep ahead of the algorithm. Because if it's a new feature, if it's something they're putting ad dollars behind, like if you're seeing ads for like new features for a platform, that's the feature you want to use. That's the feature because that's the feature they're pushing in their algorithm. And then once your content gets pushed up into the river of the algorithm, I mean, you're just going to watch it fly. Like I said, we've had a few live streams that are popping off lately. And that's strictly because it's gotten pushed into the algorithm. And I've seen it in the insights. And then we serve each platform differently. So we find a voice for each platform. And that includes Twitter. I mean, I know we don't really go live to Twitter, but Jackie's on there all the time, just saying funny stuff, just posting what she likes, and that's another way that people get to know her personality, the same personality that they see on the live streams, goofy, fun, but serious about the music and serious about spreading and creating good music. So with YouTube, I mean, we built that. We took that from probably 4,000. Well, so if we're talking growth, the three platforms that have really driven Jackie's growth are Facebook, Facebook, TikTok, and Reddit, but they're all for different reasons. With TikTok, they're pre-monetization. Actually, they're sort of getting into monetization, but right now it's all organic growth. So we've been able to go live to, or we've been able to go viral on TikTok because Jackie makes good content, but also it's sort of ripe for that right now. You know, they really haven't introduced like boosting posts. They're starting to, but there hasn't been a lot of paid content. So it's really, they promoted organic growth, you know? And so we went from 112 followers to 50, probably almost 51,000 by now, on the strength of high quality content and then going live. With Reddit, Jackie's we just crossed 10,000 followers on her Reddit page. And that's, oh man. Okay. So with Reddit, it's similar concept to the Facebook groups. Like there's a million subreddits that all have very niche things. There's big tentpole ones that are like Reddit's video and Reddit pics subreddit. Those are huge. Those have like millions, if not tens of millions. But there are more niche ones that you can get involved with, like the Austin subreddit, the Austin City Limits Festival subreddit, just things that make sense to Jackie, like the guitar subreddit. Those are things that she's in and she's like participating in. Hold on. There's a few comments I saw come in. Let me, yeah, thanks y'all. Thanks for showing up. Thanks, Kat. So Reddit, yes, sorry. I think Reddit, more than any other platform, you have to be genuine. You have to like, you have to be subtle, and you have to make yourself a part of the community. You can't just parachute in. I mean, some can because they're so famous that, you know, it just doesn't matter. But even that, the best ones of those are the ones that genuinely care about the platform. Like some of the best AMAs on Reddit, like Keanu Reeves's AMAs, they're good because it's Keanu Reeves and you get some behind the scenes insight, but he also takes the time to answer the questions that people ask thoroughly, and he really, you know, makes people feel like he's listening and addressing them, and that's how we um that's how we operate with Reddit. So we'll make posts and they'll be genuine. Like we made one after Jackie made her ACL debut that was like, you know, last night I made a dream come true, and I got to play the same music that Stevie Ray Vaughan played 37 years ago with Texas Flood on his debut. And you know, we just key on milestones like that, and people responded. And it helps if you have fun too. Like Jackie and I sometimes put on the Lo-Fi Chill stream on YouTube, and I had this idea a while back in January of this year. It feels like 10 years ago, um, where we recreated the animated scene in real life, like same clothing, same set. Shout out to Christina, her Jackie's sister, amazing artist. She does all of it, like graphic design work, everything. She's a catch-all for creativity. Um, she set decked, and you know, it just looked really cool, and that got to the top post on Reddit, like 100,000 upvotes. It was insane, but you know, we just that's what we do. We create from a genuine place of fun. Like we try to look at our world around us and build from there, because that's how you get that genuine fan interaction. What social media aggregator do we use? None. We like to play life on hard mode. I've used Hootsuite before. I've used what's the other one? I don't even remember the name of it, and I paid for it for a while. I think it starts with a B. Anyway, we've used all those, but again, man, it just feels like I understand the value of those platforms. Um, I understand why it makes sense to use a Hootsuite or something like that to make your life easier. But again, it's just so many. Oh man, my laptop battery is dying. It's a good thing I've got a charger. That's the other aspect of this, folks. Don't forget to plug your stuff in. Luckily, I've got a charger nearby. There we go. Oh, buffer, right. Hey, Natalie. Good to see you. You've been doing great stuff with your Instagram live streams. I know Jackie's been enjoying them. So so here's the other thing. Here's another great tip or great tool to use for Facebook. They've created these things called away messages. And I understand you know what that means, but one of the ways that we've been using it is we'll encourage people to message the page after a live stream or like in the time between live streams. And then when they message the page, they get an automatic reply that's like, "Hey friends, thanks so much for reaching out. Chances are, if you're reaching out, you're looking to get some good new music or something like that, something personable." And then it's usually the Song Whip link or whatever new merch link we're pushing. And that's such an easy way to create engagement without actually having to do the work, because you know that's the balance that we have. We put so much of our day. I would say we probably spend 8 to 10 hours a day on social media across different platforms at different times of the day. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you don't have the resources or the financial resources or the literal manpower outside of yourself and your team, then you kind of have to put the work in yourself, right? And that's what we do. And it's a lot of work. I'm not saying it isn't, but that's kind of what you have to do. You know, until you have the ability and the resources to have multiple people for social media or for marketing in general, that's what you have to do. Looks like we've got a couple more questions. Oh, hey, Mom. Let's see. Yeah, aggregators, yeah, they'll hurt your reach. Um, Here's the fun thing with Creator Studio now. So Facebook, a lot of these platforms, they just see what works for other people and then they integrate it, which is great for us because then we don't have to go to multiple platforms. But Facebook has Creator Studio now where you can cross post, you can do all these amazing things. You can even add graphic overlays now, which we haven't tried yet because, um, but you can do that now live. You can add graphics on, kind of like OBS. So, um, but with Creator Studio, if we're just talking, we're not talking live stream, we're just talking content. Um, we're just talking content. With Creator Studio, you can actually schedule Instagram posts and Facebook's posts like at the same time in the same tab, and it's so nice. Um, the other thing about these live streams is we save all the footage. So if there was a particularly cool like moment where she's shredding or like a really groovy part or um, like a song that's not released that we want to highlight, we can edit that. And because I save it directly to the phones, it's all in HD. And Mike, that's a great question. I appreciate that. I really do, because that's a great thing to talk about. So in the beginning of the pandemic, we got hit a few times with some like copyright stuff, but Jackie is an independent artist. She owns the rights to all of her music, masters, publishing, all of it. Um, Majority rights on all of that stuff. So why are we getting copyright on our own stuff? Well, because it's all being fed to social media through whoever your distributor is. Like we work with CD Baby. But if you've got a record deal, if you've got a publishing deal, any one of those, whoever controls your catalog, that's who you need to talk to, because Facebook has this thing called Rights Manager. It's a little known, not advertised feature buried within Facebook that controls all of the music rights on Facebook. So that's basically what gets your streams muted. And what you have to do in order to avoid that is you need to reach out to your distributor. Like I reached out to CD Baby and we ironed this out by getting Jackie's Facebook page whitelisted. We actually had to do this with YouTube too, so keep that in mind. You just send them, it's a quick email, you just send them, I mean, this should work for all of the people you have relationships with. It doesn't matter if it's CD Baby. Any distributor worth their salt probably has a rights manager account. And basically you need to say to them, like, this is I need this URL whitelisted for Facebook. That's it. And then from then on, as long as you're playing your original music, you should never have a problem. We haven't had a problem since March, basically. Which is really nice, because there's nothing more frustrating than having a great stream get muted after the fact, because that kills the legs of it. You need people, the most important time is the 24 hours after a live stream, at least on Facebook. For example, last night's stream is going bonkers right now. I think it's at like 35,000 views. But when we finished streaming, it was at like 18,000. But again, you have to factor in all of the people that are going to see this video after the fact, because they matter just as much as the people watching live at that little corner. Like, who is this person for a reading? Are you seriously in my comments on my live stream promoting tarot readings? I mean, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna hide you. Sorry about that, everyone. I don't know who this person is. Sorry about that, everyone. Let me see if I can All right. Well, yes. I mean, if I guess um, if you're going live, sorry about that, everyone. I don't really like. There we go. Sorry if anyone wanted to get their tarot cards read uh, by Kbex, but it looks like we've done about 45 minutes. Is there anyone that let's see, trying to? I appreciate that, Natalie. Let's see. 1 second. There we go. All right. Um, yeah, this has been great. I know I spent a lot of time on um, on Facebook, but I mean, there's so many layers to it, and there's so many things that we've tried, and it's always evolving. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned about streaming and just social media in general. Um, is it's always evolving. There's always going to be new features. It's almost on a weekly basis sometimes, and you really have to stay up on what's being introduced. And if you're going to go live, treat it like a show. Do the sound check before you go live. Change your strings. Make sure you're wearing something that's fun and engaging, like show clothes. You know, um, just take it seriously because that's however much you take it seriously is how much the fans take it seriously. And I know it can be overwhelming and anxiety inducing, but because you're not hearing that direct feedback. But one of the things that we learned, or one of the things that's helped tremendously, is Jackie goes live in selfie mode, um, and that way she can see herself in camera, um, and she can also see comments. So somebody sends 500 stars or 5,000 stars, say like, "Hey, thanks, Veronica, for all those stars," or on Reddit, when they're streaming in awards. Oh man, I haven't even talked about Reddit. Oh man, okay. Um, trying to think if I should even get started on this Reddit rabbit hole, considering how long we've already been talking. But um, when it comes to Reddit, uh, that's I know I've touched on it a little bit. I'll save it. I'll do another one of these next week. Um, when I lost my train of thought. Sorry guys, I'm not as pro of live streamer in front of the camera, but I would say um, let's see. Um, I would say live streaming is what saved our year. Uh, we lost so much in March, just like everyone that's watching. Um, and we decided to go all in on the fans. We decided to put all of our chips in the middle with Jackie's fans and just have faith that if we approached them genuinely and we made it all about them, then everything would work itself out. If we put the work in, if we worked hard for the fans, um, that they would show up and they would show out and they would spread the word and they would return uh, what we've given them. And I think it's proven. I think it's proven itself to that's proven to be successful. Um, we've got such a weird time we're living in. I mean, but it is what it is. You make the best of what you've got and what you've been presented. I think anyone can have success live streaming if you stick to like some basic tenets. Be genuine, meet people where they're at, and be consistent. I think if you follow those, and if you and stay loose, stay fluid. Just because something worked doesn't mean you're married to it. Like, you have to be constantly testing and experimenting. You have to be okay with failure too. Like, you have to be okay with a stream not going well. You have to have the mindset of a really good closer. Like Mariano Rivera, one of the greatest closers ever. Also, totally botched the '04 World Series or ALCS, excuse me, ALCS. Um, he still came back the next year and smoked it. Like, you just have to have a short memory on the bad nights and just know that it'll be better the next time. Whatever failed, God, I can't tell you how many streams crashed and burned in the beginning. It was almost like one out of every four streams was just almost a complete disaster. Uh, and you learn, you adapt, and you adjust. And now, I'm, knock on wood, um, with sorry, um, with live streaming, we're like just now in the last probably like 5 months, really gotten to the point where we set everything up, uh, type everything in, get everything all angled properly in here, and it's done. Like, there's not a lot of guesswork anymore. But that doesn't mean we're not still adapting and changing and adding things. Um, that doesn't mean that it's not. So we're not going to have to adjust anything. Oh, also buy yourself some good lights. They're not too expensive. Um, let's see. All right, y'all. Well, I really hope that this has been informative. Um, I just wanted to share some knowledge that I've learned and that Jackie and I have learned over the last year or two, or 3 years really. Um, and I would like to do this again next week. So, um, if you guys are, I guess if you does this is this a good time for everyone? Um, I hope it is. Uh, and I look forward to doing this again next week. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name's Louie. I manage Jackie Benson, and I own or have founded Own Path Media Group. I hope this has been informative to you. And if you have any direct questions, feel free to DM me. Um, feel free to DM me, and I hopefully can answer your questions, or maybe I'll answer them privately and then answer them live next week. But either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. All right, y'all.